up. We got so much that we can discuss. Come to the booth and turn up with us. Meta News be the source you can trust.
Hey everyone, welcome to All Star Studios. I'm your host, Universe Dragon, and with me today, I am honored to have Teknicall in the avatar right here. How we doing today?
I'm good, bro. Thank you for having me. It's been a good day. Building as usual.
Man, I love to hear that. I always need more bills in this place. Consistent flow of bills. So first off, I do want to start off by saying, very happy to have you here. You've done a lot in this community. You've impacted this community in multiple ways. But first thing is first. What got you here? What got you in Horizon? How did you get into the space?
It's actually a funny story because I had went to in the UK. We have like these it's like an events day. So you go there, and it's a VR place we chose because I've got like a group of school friends that I went to school with, and through COVID. It was just after COVID. We was trying to meet up to see each other because we haven't seen each other for a long time. So we chose to do an activity of VR, and there was about 15 of us, and we went down to this place, and you put on the headset, you put on the backpacks. I didn't know nothing about VR at this time. And there's like, you're in like a massive room, and there's like 15 here, and you're playing like this zombie game. And after that, one of my closest boys said, you know what, it was around about Christmas 2 years ago, and my closest boy said to me that he was going to get a VR headset. So he was like, why don't you get one so we can play together, and we can play from each other's crib, and we don't have to see each other and play games from the crib. So I was like, all right, cool. Ended up buying one, and I think he's been on it like twice in the whole time I've been on the headset. I think I've met him in VR like twice. That was kind of what got me into it.
Well, that's awesome, man. I mean, like, and again, I know, and it's crazy because it's even like gym time, because I started things with other people where I kept going and they like just were there for a short period of time. But it's crazy how that turns out to be. Like that experience right there, even though you thought it was for both of you guys, it ended up being for you, even though he let you in, but you had no idea that the future was yours that was coming from this. You know what I mean? Not so much both of you guys. So it's crazy and ironic to hear, and I know everybody gets into the space, everybody gets that VR, but when did you come in here? When did Horizon become a thing for you?
So I actually got into venues first, and it was the old school venues, when it was a standalone app. And I was in there and I kept meeting people in there. I kept meeting Americans, and they kept saying, kept talking about Horizons and all these things that you can do in there. And I'm like, well, I'm stuck in here, like there's nothing in here but kids. It was good because we were still having conversations. We'd play music and sing and stuff like that in venues. And then one day I just went to the app store and I looked for Horizons, and it said add to wish list. So I added it to my wish list because I thought, all right, as soon as it's available for the UK, I'm going to get in there. And I think I checked it about 2 weeks after that, and it said download. So I downloaded it, and I've been in here ever since. So I actually got in here like, I say 6-7 months before the UK got in here. So I was like one of the first UK people in here. I never met anybody else from the UK. And it was hard. It was a struggle at first because, as soon as people heard the accent, they're like, the first thing you guys always say is, do you want a cup of tea or the bottle of water? And I'm like, I'm going around to different worlds and people are hearing my accent, and that's the first thing that comes out their mouth. I'd be in the stew and I'd be getting into loads of arguments because people are like taking the mick out of my accent and stuff like that. But I actually got in here like months and months before the UK got in here. So for me, when I did arrive in Horizon Worlds, one of the first things I wanted to do was bring the UK culture into here. So that was what I started theming my builds around, UK culture and things that I knew the Americans wasn't going to be able to do in here because, only I could bring that aspect because I was from the UK.
Yeah. I mean, in a way, you kind of, you set a trend before everybody else came in. And if I'm correct, you're one of the first people I met in this space early on that had the accent. Like I didn't hear, now I'm starting to hear more and more now that's kind of opened up to the UK and other parts of the world. But you were the first person that I heard in here with that, with that type of accent. So it's just, so it already kind of just made you kind of stand out on your own. But it is nice to have people, because I know time frame and other things like that is that can only imagine that becomes difficult. Does that become difficult when it comes to the time frame?
Yeah, it does, because it's crazy, because like I always say, like now I feel like I live on American time. So like obviously I used to throw events and stuff like that. I used to have the club Divine, and I had the studio where I used to do monthly ciphers and stuff like that. And I'd end up staying up till like 4 or 5 in the morning, because I'd have to start the event. So we're 5 hours ahead of your Eastern Central Time, I don't know, Eastern Standard Time.
It's the sender.
So so, if I start something at 10 o'clock my time, that's too early for you guys. That's like 5 o'clock. And like, nobody's going to really come at that time. So I'm having to start events at like 1, 2 a.m. my time, which is like 7, 8 your time. Do you know what I mean? Which is still not late for you guys, but it's late enough to get people in there. So that always became an issue for me. So as soon as the UK come in, I was so happy, because I can throw events now on my time and know that it's going to be busy, because I know that the UK is in here and other parts of the UK are in here now, and I know they'll all come and turn up. So it's made things a lot easier having the UK in here now for me. But I think because I've been in here so long, I'd say like 90% of my friends list are Americans.
Yeah, no, I can only imagine, because you were here way before everyone else. So like, that's who all your friends are, So it just, I know it still kind of makes it a little bit more difficult when it comes to just really connecting with all your American friends. And just getting in there. You have this little short window where I can be like, hey, I can get on, and hopefully I can see enough of you guys, because a lot of us get on late. I know, a lot of people in my circles, we typically are getting on at like 9 o'clock. Like 8 o'clock, 8 o'clock or later.
And I'm just going to bed.
Exactly. And you're about, you're calling it a night. Like, we're just about to put this headset on. Like, okay, it's time to get my night started. And you're like, taking this off. We're putting ours on. Like, so I definitely, I understand that those differences are there. But, but all in all, when it comes to everything that you've done here, and this is why you're here, you've done a lot when it comes to the music scene, having your own studio, putting music in the world and other things like this. So tell me a little bit about that. How did you get into the music area of Horizon?
So when I came into Horizon, like I had no ambition of building. I'm going to be honest. I looked at builds and I was like, there's no way I'm going to be able to do anything like that. Nothing like that. So I'm a DJ in real life. So one of the things for me was I wanted to bring my DJing into her. I've frozen again, haven't I?
No, you're good. We can cut it.
I wanted to bring my DJing into Horizons. So the first thing I did was build a club, and I wanted to DJ live in there, but I didn't know at that point that I could connect my turntables to my headset and DJ live. So what I did was I recorded a mix. I did a mix at home, and I got the mix in. And shout out to Biggie Paws. He was like one of the first people that helped me out with the music, because back then, it was a different vibe. Like, you wouldn't get much help off people because it felt like there was like gatekeepers and they didn't want to tell you too much, So like, I'm going around and asking people to help me with how to input music, and nobody wanted to help me. And Biggie, fair play to him, he just came through straight away, did the mix for me. And that was interesting in itself, because I put a lot of UK music on there, because I knew the Americans aren't going to hear much of the UK, especially not in Horizons. So when I actually did that and I did the launch night, that place was packed, and it was packed for months, man. I love the vibe in there. So the next thing I wanted to do was, I wanted to bring a studio. I wanted to do a studio, and the whole theme around the studio was I wanted to play nothing but UK beats and get you guys out to come and rap on it and see if you could rap on it. So I started to do monthly ciphers. They went amazing as well. Like, we had some really good like nights in there. We was making like whole songs, and then first it started off with just rappers, and then I introduced singers. So we'd have rappers coming in rapping, and then you'd have singers singing the hooks. It was like we was making whole songs. I think we could have made a Horizons album out of some of them ciphers that we did. And it was good because you had the contrast of the UK beats and the American rappers. And there was a lot of studios in here at that time. Horizons has always got its like themes that it goes through. It was studios, talk shows. At that point it was studios, but nobody was bringing UK beats in there. So some of the beats that was coming, like drill beats, I was bringing like drill beats in there. Some of the Americans had never heard that, so that was like really excited to rap on those beats. So that was just something that I wanted to introduce, and then that was when I started stepping out my comfort zone after that, and I started to get into like architecture and things like that, which is also weird for me because I can't draw. In real life, I can't draw nothing. You ask me to draw you a house, you're gonna get like a Barbie house or something like that. Like
yeah, some stick figures.
yeah. You ask me to draw a man, you're gonna get a stick man. But for some reason in here, like architecture's my thing. Like I can put a structure together within a couple of hours. Like I really took to it in here, and that was like something that I've just always ran with, like architecture and things like that.
Yeah. I mean, and it's again, seeing what you've done, just that whole your whole track of being in here. Because I went to the studio, you know what I mean? Like, and I mean, because again, your studio definitely stood out among everyone else because of those beats that you were bringing in. Hadn't heard beats like that, hadn't heard drill beats like that. It was definitely, and one thing I look for when I go to studios is that freshness, like fresh sounds I haven't heard before, different beats, different sounds. It really pulls out my creativity when I'm singing or rapping or whatever I'm doing. So I really loved your studio for those purposes right there. And I found myself going there quite frequently because of that reason. So I can definitely tell you firsthand, as a person who was on the receiving end of that, it was really well put together, really good, and it was a really good idea. For what you did, the time that you did it, and it was perfect timing. Really was.
Yeah.
But yeah, the whole building and everything like that. It's been great seeing that transition and everything that you've been building, the worlds that you've been a part of in creating and things like that. It's been amazing, and I know it has affected the community in the best of possible ways. And I know you got so much more coming. But what I want to say is, when it comes down to it, what do you feel is your big motivator? What keeps you going? What keeps that drive there? What keeps you building? What keeps you creating? What keeps you bringing, good music and keeping that same momentum that you had in the beginning? Because not everyone keeps that momentum. What drives you?
I don't know. Like I have a really good friendship group around me in here. I don't keep a big circle of friends in here. Like I'll be around Big Chief, Cam, Pam. That's my daily circle of people that I'm around. You know what I mean? And Cam will always come through, and me and him always build together. We always build together. Like whether we're building different things, we'll be building together. We'll be either in the same world building different things, or we'll be in a party building. I don't know. I think those guys have always kept me motivated in here. Like they're just like me. They're always building, so it makes you just want to build. You know what I mean? I think the people coming through to my builds, I made a promise to myself like a long time ago that I was gonna like stay out of like the kind of things that go on in Horizon World. So I mainly stay in build mode. But when I do come out, like the response that I get to some of my builds and stuff like that, like I think it was last week, I thought, you know what, I'm gonna stay out of build mode. I'm gonna go around to a few of my worlds, and I started meeting people in my worlds, and like the thanks that I was getting for building the worlds just kept me motivated. And I suppose I don't get to see that because I'm always in build mode. So being out of build mode and seeing the appreciation for the stuff I build, I never class myself as a top builder or anything like that, because you know, as we were saying back then, you know, when we first came into Horizon, it felt like there was gatekeepers. So I never wanted to be like that. I wanted to be accessible, and I spend a lot of my time going around into people's worlds and helping them in build mode, you know, showing them little tricks and stuff that I would do. And I think I'm on something like, I checked the other day, I'm on something like nearly 300 worlds, you know, where I've helping people in build mode and giving them tips and things like that. So for me, I think hearing the feedback from people about the stuff that I build, that stuff just keeps me motivated.
And
definitely.
I can only imagine. I mean, because that, and then we do get tied up in the things that we're creating. So sometimes it's hard for us to sit, kind of appreciate it, and get feedback. So I feel like it is a healthy thing to get that feedback, and I say that to anybody who's out there creating, doing music, or whatever it is that you do. You know, coming to see the fruits of your labor, seeing what other people are truly receiving from that. You know, because that is a healthy thing to do when you are. I'm sorry. But yes, that is a healthy thing that I feel like everyone should do when you are a creator of anything, music, anything like that, watching people actually receive everything that you do, watching people, you know, take it in and seeing their, seeing what they took from it, you know, because sometimes their perception is a little bit different than what you had. And you even get more ideas from things like that. So again, it's lovely to see that and lovely to hear that you're getting that kind of feedback, because that alone, you know, even if you're not getting motivated from anything else, that is a big motivator. But having the right circle and right people around you, I feel like that is a crucial part of it as well. Definitely. Is a huge crucial part, because if you have the wrong people around you, they will stop you from moving forward, or they could stagger your success. So having the right group around you is another thing that will help keep building you up. So it's a great thing. You know, before we get out of here, what I want to ask is, what would you tell somebody? What would you tell somebody who's just coming here, who's just getting into the space? They're trying to kind of, you know, they're wanting to do things very similar to kind of how you've done it. They want to get into the music, they want to put stuff into the worlds, and they want to be part of this music community. You know, and building community and other things like this. What would you tell them? What would you give? What advice would you give them?
For me, I think it was about staying in my lane. So it was about recognizing what my lane was, what my USP was, you know, and then running with that and collaborating with people, you know, like collaborating with people and bringing your circle of friends, people that you can rely on, people that you can trust, people that you can go to and ask for help, you know, and they'll help you with these things, and in return you can build something. Because I don't script. Like everybody knows, I tell them, don't ask me a scripting question, because you ain't gonna get an answer from me. But I have people, a circle of people around me that will come and help me script. You know, Wolfman is on most of my walls. He'll come in and help me script. And, you know, in return, I'll build. And, you know, having a team of people around you that you can rely on, that you can trust, I think is fundamental. Momentum, keep your momentum up. You know, you can't stay in build mode 24/7. You got to come out and do a little world hopping and get some inspiration, talk to a few people, find out what impact your build is having within the community. Do you know what I mean? Because that's important. You know, if your build's not having no impact, what are you building for? Although I say that I build for me, I don't build for anybody else. I've never built a world and thought to myself, I'm going to build this to get loads of traffic or anything like that. I just build for me. I build stuff that I like, and that's why I couldn't be like a part of a commissioning team or things like that, because I feel like I enjoy building now, because I get to build what I want to build, and I love that. I love that part of being in here. That drives me in here. Yeah.
100. I love that. And again, you guys heard it. I mean, when it comes down, just staying focused, staying dedicated, staying focused on the goal that you came here to do, and building for yourself. Like Technicall said, build for you. Building for everyone else, a lot of times you lose a lot of your creativity, a lot of the things that that you get your drive from. You lose that when you're trying to focus on other people instead of just at a core building your dreams and the things that you have in your head and creating in the way that you want to create. So again, Technicall. This has been amazing. So happy to have you out. Where can everyone find you? Could you, let everybody know where to find you and any way to get a hold?
You can hit me up on Facebook. You can hit me up on Instagram. It's technical_VR, spelled just like how I spell it. And reach out to me, man. I'm approachable. You know what I mean? Like, I'm approachable. You can come if you see me in the meta streets, man. Just come and talk to me, man. I talk to everybody. I show love to everybody. So, yeah, definitely.
100%.
Definitely. Thank you for having me, guys.
Yeah. Hey, no, we really appreciate you being here and appreciate you getting out of Bill mode for a second to just join us today and talk about talk about your presence in this community and the impact that you've had. And again, guys, you heard it. If you need to reach him at his contacts. And again, I just want to say thank you guys for joining us for another week of All Star Studios. Let us know, in the comments below, like how you like everything. If you want to see anything in particular, you want to see anything different, let us know in the comments below. But again, we really appreciate you rocking with us every single week, and we will see you guys next week. Thank you so much. Have a great night.